I gotta get a move on and get back to the way in which I used to be. Still got my little mirror and stuff hanging over here. Anyways, I was being rebuilt in the spirit plane by some very nice people along with my ancestors. My two grandmothers, one who's black. And, you know, this is her grandma Dorothy. And another one who's Jewish on my dad's side, from what I understand. And I saw this in this article here years ago. He the one with Cometian or Egyptian ancestry, and I'm contemplating about, well, you know, buying some that, you know, jewelry that connotes to that. Hopefully, nothing, you know, nobody tries to put anything. I gotta better protect myself. Anyways, something happened where this evil ass wetbag bitch, she took over my dad's God self, or my connection to my father, you know, God self through him, and started taking over my consciousness and pulling it into Santa Muerte's realm. And I'm going to do a write-up on why she should not exist in the spirit plane. And I heard some evil people are going to use that against me. But I'm going to say this right now. The problem with her is, unlike a Baron Samedi, I was looking into, you know, buying a ring for him today. So I'm married to him in the spirit plane. And, you know, he's part of my bloodline. I saw today that this is what I wanted to say about Santa Muerte. Unlike in Oshun, the Yemeya, or Hike, I was told I actually whipped her ass when she tried to pull me out of my body. And I beat the living fuck out of her. My mother couldn't do it, and you know, my daddy couldn't do it, but I could. Which is supposed to manifest a living God, an incarnated God. You know, I don't know how true that shit is. But anyways, with that being said, the problem with her is, unlike in Oshun, the Yemeya, and Ogun, who's one of my favorites, Shango, Obatala, they got a dude on Instagram who kind of reminds me of me. And at first, I thought he was parking in the same places I used to park on the PCH. Excuse me, somebody fucking, you know, my shit's all exteriorized and all of that. I got to get it under control. Somebody, some shit that they did, you know, try to arrest that. I got my consciousness all out. I get confused with what's going on, you know, in the spirit plane because of how much control Tavares has taken over. And from what I understand, as I'm going to show you here, them people are open today. And from what I understand, she keeps taking stuff out my consciousness so that I won't do videos exposing them and talking about them. You don't want to go to them people. From what I understand, the guy, Tomas or whatever, molested a young girl. They got, you know, just, they still black folks like I saw them do with me and Baron Samedi, our ancestral money. I saw Santa Muerte trying to do that. That's why that bitch need to be taken out. I wouldn't fuck with them. And it's been getting more sadistic and closer to death. Like I said, I almost got taken out of my body because this Maria Tavares keeps trying to make me into a sacrifice, and that's not going to happen. Like I say, she did somewhere. She took over my dad's God self and all of that. She was fucking with my grandmother Dorothy and trying to, her and Santa Worthy, and trying to use that to pull me into her hell realm and some shit like that. With that being said, the problem with Santa Muerte is she don't have her own consciousness. She never existed. She a thought form, a topa. And just like what happened to me, if you're in any way or any capacity associated or under her, which she crowns all the people of Mexico and I believe Guatemala, she can snatch you. Let me go ahead and try to articulate it as best as I can. Her followers act as judge, jury, and executioner because that's how she works. She's a thought form, so she has to claim to the followers their highest selves, like they're doing with Maria Tavares, in order for her to exist and have any meat. With that being said, I felt some tear just now while I was saying that, some that, could get me spiritual help. I felt them destroy entity attachments within that could connect you to getting spiritual help, recently. Anyways, both internally as well as externally, but, I've been using 3002 hertz, spirit team, little what I got, Archangel Michael on some trippy shit, try to put myself back. Anyways, with that being said, the problem with Santa Muerte is, and Maria Tavares is part of her network. I saw it with I saw it with somebody, a friend of mine, who had nothing to do with none of that. He was part, I think, Mexican and part white, but, he wasn't like he had, I don't want to say it, like in a negative way, but more like me, very individualistic and extremely fucking intelligent. And he didn't really associate, and with that being said, she was over him, and them people don't give their consent to that shit. And again, just like what's happening with Maria Tavares and all of that, again, Santa Muerte is only as good as your highest self. And just like I saw with a 2-year-old child who was trapped in her realm, so the entity attachment of him was following me around, trying to pull me with a van that got loudspeakers and shit I ain't seen in since, along with another a young woman that was a rape victim. The guy who raped her, a bunch of wetbacks, their highest selves came in and, through Santa Muerte, through her network, and pulled the girl out of her consciousness. And that's how she works. You can use frankincense and myrrh to deter her. That I heard that works a lot better than black tourmaline. And black tourmaline works too. That was able to extricate her. 960 hertz works extremely well as well. That gets rid of energy vampires. I thought 451 hertz along with 452 hertz works. Also use 694 hertz, 695 hertz to see what's going on. Anyways, to make a long story short, Maria, they were able, it's a bunch of frequencies. There's also, when your consciousness gets taken over like it is with Maria Tavares, there's frequencies. I got to think I'm going to be able to deter that. I heard 7555 hertz, but I don't know how effective, or 7225 hertz. Anyways, mine feels extremely thin, and that's not healthy. Anyways, with that being said, the problem with her is she can come in getting all these confusing mixed messages. The problem with her is their high selves can come in and snatch you out your consciousness. And that's how a person dies. I saw it in one timeline with my father in the middle of the night. And that, from what I understand, because my shit's so compromised, that almost happened with me. With that being said, you can petition God to remove her because, again, she crowns automatically at birth all Mexicans, no matter how you feel about her. If you can be under bare insanity, and she can still fuck with you. I also heard that their creator gods, Quetzalcoatl, Toltec, and all of them are so evil that they can't come into the spirit plane to pull them up. Like, our creator gods, Aludamare, Aludun, or Aludun, Shango and all of them, Hecate, Thor, Aphrodite, Thor, mad fucking cool. I, worked with them before. They're good people. And they actually live just like Ogun and them. They can come and snatch people up who are part of their bloodline, their ancestral line. Them motherfuckers can't do that. They got Santa Muerte that, again, their followers do the oversight, the judge, jury, and executioner, and then, if that makes any sense. So that's the problem. So I'm going to do a write-up on my blog today about why it's dangerous to have her over the Mexican oversoul consciousness and to have her controlling shit. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do this card reading. It's some real fucked up shit that them people under. I heard, that, I was very accurate with this article. To get this Tavares off of me. I heard some shade and fraud with her where she's going to try to pull something as soon as I divulge this information. But, from what I understand, they have Lamb and Zenu, or Zenu, along with Satan over them at birth because they're comprised of the primordial darkness, which isn't anything bad. We all are. But anyways, you can sign a petition with God to get that shit removed because that's extremely scary. And that's why them people fear that. They got a lot of, I look at Instagram and YouTube and they have a lot of crazy ass paranormal, preternatural shit that be going on with their culture. And a lot of that goes back to the low vibrational origins. Like I say, you see motherfuckers with pixelated, demented faces looking like Picasso paintings and shit. Chaotic faces, which connotes the hell realms, which is, just like that film Event Horizon was showing, connotes to, that's demons. And from what I understand, their creator gods came from Betelgeuse or something, where there was a civil war, a minor or something, S minor. Anyways, let me go ahead and get to these cards, and I got to get packing. It's just too much shit. I need to adjust that here to making videos because, I start to improve and I, be thinking that, I'm improving, and it's just too much. And right now, that Maria Tavares is trying to drown out spiritual protection. And mainly, again, she's trying to veer me off from doing these videos so that people don't see what's going on. From what I understand, one video I did would have exposed, like I said, something happened on May the 1st, 2024. I ain't in my body. And she didn't want that put out. This was real thin one day where I couldn't do a video anyways. In the obstacle position, we got the Fool. And I feel that you're going up against some very evil, vile, malicious competition that wants to keep you down. You got the Seven of Wands, and I feel that you confront something that could fuck you up. That's the present position. Future position, Queen of Swords. And that shows you going in the right direction. You know, it kind of reminds me, I saw Maria Tavares doing something where she combined my soul consciousness with Santa Muerte so I could get pulled into her hell realm. Along with my parents. You ain't going to be taking no shit. The star, subconscious. And I feel that that connotes to you feeling like you can break free of something. The power lies within you, just like Ezekiel, something would say. I got the quote on my website, toplessinla.org. The power lies within you. God lies within you. The goal position, Seven of Cups. And I feel that your focus is to break free of something. And you're going to get there. You know, don't let shit hold you back. Eight of Wands. That's the advice card. And something is telling you, don't let people stop you. Don't let shit intimidate you or detour you like what's happening spiritually with me. This shit with Maria Tavares got to end. I also wanted to do a video, you know, later on showing that I got soul swapped. So anyways, Nine of Pentacles. And I feel like that's where you're at. And you're in a place where you're around a lot of spiritual help and abetment. The Hermit. You have, that's your fears and your hopes card. Something is telling you, don't go back within. You know, trust other people, put your faith in other people. Outcome, Three of Wands. I feel it's a big decision. You're going to make a big decision that's going to help you. With that being said, if you want a more personalized reading, please contact me at ravenbyterror22@yahoo.com. Peace.